Ridwan Taghi will serve a life sentence for orchestrating a series of murders. Termed a mega trial, his case took nearly 6 years to get a verdict. The 46-year-old masterminded an Amsterdam-based gang that specialised in professional murders. Taghi faced a range of charges, including murder and planning assassinations in a reign of terror from 2015 to 2017.
How did small Dutch weed smugglers grow into billion-dollar cocaine traffickers? One group so bold, so brutal. From cocaine trafficking to controlling ports, politicians, and entire cities, murdered journalists, lawyers, and even police in cold blood? Before we get into the real mess, why is everyone in the Netherlands terrified of saying their name out loud? Drop your thoughts below. Well, they are known as the Mocro Mafia. The Mocro Mafia isn't a single gang. It's more like a network of criminal groups, mostly made up of men with Moroccan roots operating across the Netherlands and Belgium. The word Mocro is slang for Moroccan. That's how the name stuck. They didn't start out as a mafia. Back in the 90s, these guys were small-time drug dealers, smuggling hash from Morocco's Rif Mountains into Europe. At first, it was just weed. But once they got a taste of how much money was in cocaine, everything just changed. Fast forward to today, the Mocro Mafia has become one of Europe's most dominant crime syndicates. Around the early 2000s, the Mocro crews made a bold move. They shifted from cannabis to cocaine. And not just selling on the streets, these guys started working directly with South American cartels. They brought in massive shipments of cocaine through European ports, especially Rotterdam and Antwerp. But how? Inside shipping containers, hidden in bananas, fruit crates, or even frozen fish. And they weren't doing it alone. They had help from corrupt port workers, customs officers, and insiders who made sure their containers slipped through undetected. Now imagine this. If you're bringing in tons of cocaine worth millions every week, you can't just walk into a bank with that kind of cash. So, the Mocro Mafia had to get creative there. They started laundering money through fake businesses, luxury real estates, and companies set up in tax havens like Dubai. Some even opened car dealerships or restaurants, legit businesses that could hide their dirty cash. What was the result? They built an empire, and with billions flowing in, they could buy anything. Fancy cars, mansions, and most importantly, power and violence like you've never seen. But what made the Mocro Mafia truly terrifying was how violent they became. These guys didn't just shoot rivals, they beheaded them, left body parts in the streets as warnings, started full-blown gang wars. They turned peaceful Dutch cities into war zones. This era became known as the Mocro Wars. They even went after people no one thought criminals would touch. At the top of the Mocro Mafia was Ridwan Taghi, the man authorities allege is the criminal mastermind behind the empire. Taghi started out like many other small-time drug dealers on the street, but he was smart, ruthless, and always one step ahead. He built connections with South American suppliers and slowly became the mastermind behind Europe's cocaine pipeline. He communicated only through encrypted phones. He never used social media. He didn't even own a smartphone. For years, the police had no clue what he looked like. But power in the underworld comes at a price. Taghi wasn't just running a business, he was running an empire built on fear, loyalty, and brutal violence. The Mocro Mafia under his command controlled the drug trade with ruthless efficiency. If someone talked, they disappeared. If someone betrayed him, they were executed brutally. Between 2015 and 16, the violence erupted into a series of murders that shook the Netherlands. It started with Ronald Bakker and Samuel Arakiba, both killed because Taghi believed they were working with the police. Then came Ranko Sekic, a former hitman who made the fatal mistake of turning witness. Journalist Martin Koch, who had a criminal past, was assassinated for exposing Taghi using insider information. In 2019, they murdered Dirk Wiersum, a lawyer defending a witness. Then in 2021, they killed Peter R. de Vries, a famous crime journalist. Both attacks were meant to send a clear message. If you speak against us, you die. Beyond murder, Mocro Mafia members engage in extortion of businesses and have plotted kidnappings. Whatever it takes to maintain their power through fear. Eventually, Taghi fled to Dubai, hiding in a luxury apartment under a fake name. But in 2019, he was finally caught in a joint operation and extradited back to the Netherlands Supermax prison. When Taghi went on the run, his closest ally, Saeed Razouki, also vanished. Razouki fled to Colombia, where he thought he would be safe, but in 2020 he was arrested in Medellin, the old home of Pablo Escobar. On February 27, 2024, Ridwan Taghi was sentenced to life in prison by a Dutch court, along with 2 others. He was convicted of 5 homicides, 2 attempted homicides, and planning several other murders. This was part of the massive Marengo trial, which lasted 6 years and included 16 defendants. It was the largest and longest criminal trial in Dutch history.
Een heel goedemorgen. Een politieinval in Vianen gisteravond. Mogelijk heeft die te maken met de arrestatie van topcrimineel Ridwan Taghi. Hier werd de inval gedaan in dit appartement. Eerst gaan speciaal getrainde agenten naar binnen, gevolgd door rechercheurs. De politie doet geen mededelingen over de inval, maar hier zou familie van Ridwan Taghi wonen. Mogelijk een van zijn zussen. Taghi zelf werd gisteren opgepakt in Dubai.
In total, 13 more members were sentenced to between 2 and 29 years in prison. Even though Taghi's network was massive, authorities believe his conviction will have little effect on the cocaine pipeline into Europe, a sign of just how deeply organized crime is rooted in the system. Today, both men are behind bars, but their crimes are still being uncovered in court. The Mocro Mafia may have started in the Netherlands, but their influence spread far and wide. They have operations in Spain, especially on the Costa del Sol. They are active in Germany, France, and Italy. They have even used Morocco as a drug route, and Suriname in South America as a smuggling base. Their connections go so deep, they have worked with the Italian Ndrangheta, the Irish Kinahan cartel, and even Mexican cartels like Sinaloa. It's a global web of crime, and they move like ghosts, switching phones, identities, and countries like it's nothing for them. Just how rich is the Mocro Mafia? Share your thoughts in the comments below. It's hard to say for sure, but some believe they move $10 billion worth of cocaine a year. That's more than the GDP of some countries, and they use that money to bribe, build, and expand. They control parts of the port systems, they pay off officials, and they use legal businesses to cover their tracks. For them, violence is business. Killing a rival is not emotional, it's a way to protect investments and grow profits. Their story is so insane it's been recounted in best-selling true crime books, and it's also become a TV show, literally. The Dutch series Mocro Mafia is based on their rise. It's gritty, dark, and surprisingly accurate. But here's the twist. Some criminals watch the show to see themselves on screen. It's become part of the culture, but for regular people, it's terrifying. The average Dutch citizen never expected mafia-style killings in their quiet streets. Now, they're locking doors, avoiding nightclubs, and watching news reports like war updates. In neighborhoods where the Mocro Mafia operates, young kids are being recruited with promises of fast money and flashy cars. But what they are really signing up for is a death sentence. The good news is that authorities are fighting back. Taghi and Razouki are in jail. The Marengo trial has brought more than a dozen criminals to justice. Ports are increasing security. New tech is being used to track drug containers. The bad news? The Mocro Mafia isn't gone. It's fractured, yes, but other gangs are now fighting to take their place. Younger crews, more reckless, more violent. As long as Europe keeps buying cocaine and ports remain vulnerable, the cycle continues. The war isn't over, it's just changing faces. Do you think the government is doing enough to stop gangs like the Mocro Mafia? Or are they turning a blind eye because too many powerful people are involved? Share your thoughts below in the comments. Thanks for watching until the next chapter in the Outlaw book.